I wanted to talk about my first time doing Inktober this year. For you guys that don't know, Inktober is basically all month of October, where you kind of do like a drawing prompt every day. And the basis of it is you kind of go back into technical drawing where it's just outlines and like hatching for shadings and different techniques that you can practice, build up on. I know that a lot of people kind of, they do it their own way. I guess normally you're supposed to use just a pen and paper and just do the bare basics. I kind of started off the same way, but as you'll see here in a bit, that I kind of switched it up a little bit using markers as well. I didn't want to do color with this one specifically because I kind of want to keep it in the traditional sense of just ink and paper. What I have here is just a normal watercolor pad that I used for the whole month. Why watercolor? I wasn't intending on using this. My original thought was to do a couple colorings, full pages, maybe like just a little aspect of it that was colored in. But as I started, I kind of wanted to stick to the just a black and gray, just a black and white version of it. So it's just kind of, I already started on the watercolor, so I kind of just continued it from there. But anyways, every day I did write down what the prompt was for that day, and let's just get down to it. So day one was backpack, and I remember when I first started out, I wanted to try to do like a horror theme to this because it being October, plus I love drawing horror stuff, so I figured why not just draw a little ghost going to wearing a backpack going to boo school, I think what it was. I did make a video. I made a little short on all these days, so if you want to watch those, cool. If not, I'll try to remember exactly what I said here. Remember I did like a like a ghost heading to school type of thing, and it's nighttime, the moon's right here. Typical going to the forest with little mushrooms and stuff. He's carrying a lantern because we still got to see. I'm assuming this ghost still needs to see. See how with the shadowing and stuff, I tried to do a couple like crosses and hatchings and stuff like that. This is basically kind of out of my style. I mean, I learned it when I first started drawing, but my shading technique kind of changed over time, so going back to basics such as this was a little bit different for me, but I think I did all right. Day two was discover right here, and I'm sure this concept is not new, but I figured how mankind discovers aliens, or there's alien talk like that. I tried to do the reversal where the two aliens discovered a human guy, like a little astronaut did, and this is just them, I'm assuming on the moon. I don't really remember where I was going with this, but it was in outer space, obviously. Two alien kids are like, alien, with an astronaut. So it's like, huh. Then on to day three. Day three was boots. Now I remember, if you watch a lot of my videos, I kind of do a lot of still photos or kind of just singular objects, I'm still learning a lot with drawing and stuff, so for me to draw like an actual scene or more than one element was kind of intimidating, but at the same time I was like, why not just try it? So what I did was I drew the boots, clothes and stuff, presuming belonging to this guy here, who was basically being seduced by this mermaid slash siren creature, kind of is like a beautiful woman, and then with a mermaid body that he can't see. So it's kind of just at the closed trail that led to him going into the water with her, kind of horror theme, All right. Day 4 was exotic. The way I interpret this was, remember thinking exotic animals such as a chameleon, and then I was like, okay, how can I make this scary? So, long story short, I made him, a lot bigger than usual. He's standing on a light post and he's ready to snatch this guy up, trying to run away from him. And I remember I wanted to add some lighting to this. This was one of them where I wanted to add little yellow, little light scenario, but I was like, no, try to stick to the basics of pen and paper. Number 5 was binoculars. Again, I pictured this guy here looking through binoculars and discovering that he's staring into a zombie person or a vampire, however you want to interpret that. But I figure I can draw that into lenses, kind of give a perspective of what he was looking at. I know some people pointed out in the comments that, how close this guy was in the lens indicates kind of in a perspective way, no more than maybe like 10 feet in front of him, but I was trying to go for the far distance effect to it. But at the same time, for me to do far distance was going to be a lot of details, which I was not comfortable doing at the time. So this is what I get. And obviously, I didn't have like a copy and trace method or anything. I tried to replicate them, but obviously these are two different people here. But you know what? I learned from it, and we'll move on to the next one. Day 6, is Trek. Obviously, first references I thought was like Star Trek, stuff like that, and I figured I'd just draw like a person here, a hiker crossing a kind of like a wood bridge or like a log bridge, and what you don't see is what she doesn't see is the Bigfoot Sasquatch person back here kind of eyeing her down and stuff like that. I believe the story I came up with it was that she needed like a little getaway, a little weekend getaway thing, and she went by herself, obviously. And what she didn't know was that there was a monster in the woods. Like I said, I was trying to keep a theme to it, and as these days went on, I kind of started developing little mini storylines for these pictures, kind of give a perspective in a sense. Then day 7 was passport. This is more of my style here. This is more of my style here of just a single object, just a still picture of something. But what I did here was a passport for purgatory. I believe the story I came up with was something like getting a passport and not knowing which way to go, kind of shows you your what was the thing I was going for? Kind of like your unfinished business and what you need to do to escape purgatory and go on into the afterlife, into the beyond, in a sense. Day 8, here we go, is hike. I took this one just basic, kind of just, a little hiker hiding behind a tree, and off in the distance he sees like a witches gathering, witches ritual type of thing. And what I did here was kind of did all the detailing here, and then off in the distance kind of keep it at a minimum. Like you kind of see the silhouettes, the little stump here with the candles and all that. I try to incorporate darkness, or at least a dark theme, adding these lines in the background. Hopefully you got translated right. And same thing, kind of off in the distance kind of effect here. Day 9 was sun. I remember I didn't want to just draw a sun, and I wasn't really familiar with any like sun gods or anything like that. So what I did was kind of just took I drew a field with a lot of dying plants, dying crops, because it's just so bright outside. The sun is just heating up everything. It was a drought and everything, so it's kind of the perspective I went for it. I didn't really add much detail to it because it was just repetitive, and I think I had other things going on, so I just wanted to just get this done with. Day 10 is nomadic, and the way I pictured this was a cowboy dude who I believe he stopped like at a saloon, started talking to the bartender, and learned about why people don't usually go out into the desert, because there is a creature who lives there, stalks people, and you never hear from them ever again. So I kind of drew a cowboy, going into the sunset type of vibe. Sun's going down, and then you can see the wolf creature sitting here. So I also added the cliff effect to it, kind of like a from up top type of view. Day 11 was snacks, and I was trying to think how I can make this into like a horror theme. So same thing as the alien one, I kind of just reversed it, where big old candy bar like this one sees that there is human snacks on sale, and better yet, it's 50% off, So drew a little person in here wrapped up like a candy, and then people snacks boxes. You can see the little people in there. It's kind of just a reversal type of roll. Day 12 was remote, and kind of like what's that one movie? Kind of like The Ring almost. But what I did was he's flipping through channels, and next thing you know, you see this creature on screen, and it's like kind of like a bloody scene. How blood's coming out of her eyes and it's running down her mouth, and you can see it's actually dripping onto the stand of the TV. So, and also, the plants died, so it's kind of giving like a bad, evil energy type of thing. I didn't want to do it like The Ring itself. I kind of just wanted like a creature that kind of presents itself through the TV. Whether or not she was going to crawl out of it, I wasn't too sure at that point, so I just kind of just drew her in there. Day 13 was Horizon, and again with the horror theme, I was like, how can I draw Horizon in this? So I did two people, I believe they were survivors, in a little life raft thing, and off in the distance you can see this little island here, and you can see these little silhouettes of people. And I was thinking like almost comic book style, how it kind of zooms out, and they're actually the creatures that are there. They're like zombies, or kind of mummified type of people. Most likely I was thinking zombies, but I was like, see how he's pointing like, oh look, there's an island. Then day 14 was Rome. Okay, day 14 was Rome, and what I drew here was kind of like an empty room with the hallway, the doors right here. I do realize the door is a lot smaller than what the door frame is here. But what I did was drew a little silhouette. It's a mirror, and has a silhouette of this person here, kind of like a spirit type of thing. I believe the storyline was a new homeowner. He hears bumps in his new house, little noises, and discovers that there's a ghost that actually lives there, type of thing. Again, I try to do perspective. This is one room right here. This is the outside. This is kind of like a hallway type of thing right in here. Day 15 was guidebook, and my first thought was, like a young witch learning about her craft, and she's practicing spells here. Like this one, she's on chapter 11, fire. So she learned it, so she made her little fire here. this one would actually be my favorite drawing that I did during the time, because I don't know, it's just a lot of witch type of theme, and me being a horror fan, I love drawing stuff like this. So. Day 16 was grungy, so this one was kind of hard for me to do, but what I thought was kind of a grungy ghost coming, you know, out of the grave, out of the cemetery, whatever. The tombstones in the back and this ghost here. I believe the storyline, something about like a rocker that died and he came back to life, I think. I could be wrong on that, but I remember this is what I drew. And here's where I started using like markers and stuff, because there was a lot of black going into this, so I didn't want to spend the time with a pen trying to darken all this out, so I just started using markers. And there's not really any rules to Inktober. I mean, the whole thing is to kind of practice and enhance your drawing, so I use markers to help. Day 17 is journal. Again, I kind of just took it literal, just kind of a person writing in their journal. What I did, let's see if I can read it here. It's a personal, it's like a diary. It says, my reflection looks paler than before. I can't bear the sunlight. It's too intense, too painful. This hunger gnaws at me, unlike any I have felt before. It's like a thirst that water can't quench. So the horror theme here is he's kind of slowly turning to this creature, and he's just jotting down everything about himself, how he's feeling and stuff like that. Kind of like a pre-transition before he turns into whatever creature he becomes, you know. Day 18 is drive. The perspective here is, this is a rearview mirror. Looking into it, looking to the back seat, there's like this creature, this monster that's crawling from behind him. It's like raining, so this is the windshield here. And this story was somebody working late. They had drove through the forest. It was raining, so everything was dark. And I figured there was it was like a local myth or some creature with why you couldn't drive through this particular area, because there's monsters, and obviously they encountered it. Day 19 was Ridge, which kind of had a hard time on this one, because these were supposed to be like clouds, and this is the mountain range, and I don't know why, I just didn't feel like drawing. I just didn't really put too much thought into it, but this is what I came up with. This is kind of perspective type of thing. It's actually up close, but if you look at it, it's off in the far distance type of thing. It's just a troll type of creature that he encountered. Day 20 is Uncharted. The way I did this was, this guy is a archaeologist, I believe. He finds this box here with all these weird symbols. He messes with it, drops it, and, you know, falls to the floor, opens up a portal. And I kind of want to redeem myself from the previous one, because I wanted to draw clouds again. And what I did was I opened up a whirl into where people kind of live like in tall trees, almost like redwoods, but they extend above the clouds. So there's a little bridge thing here, and this is kind of like the portal circle. Day 21 is Rhinoceros. This one I kind of took it literal. I drew a craze, kind of a crazy rhinoceros who has blood running down. He's like running. What I kind of drew, the reason why I drew so close this way was because he's a big old monster. He's like a normal sized rhinoceros, but ×2 type of thing, you know, kind of twice the size as usual. And it's about, the story I think I came up with was like the animal kingdom taking revenge back on humans or taking life back in a sense. So they kind of go on a rampage and just start attacking all the humans. Day 22 is camp. I took this just as a camper sitting at his fire, and what he doesn't realize is the forest has a spirit, and this is how I interpreted it. Kind of goes back to typical campfire stories of, you know, monsters in the woods type of thing. And a lot of these darker areas I did use the marker as well, because it's just easier for me to draw. Day 23 was rusty. I don't know why I had a hard time trying to come up with something, but I just drew a handsaw, a rusty handsaw. And I'm trying to remember what the story was behind that. I'm sure it will come back to me. I'm not sure right now, but I know, like I said, I did make shorts of every day of all these pictures. So if you want to go back and actually see it, it will be there. Day 24 is expedition. What I drew was the perspective of being in a cave type of thing. This young explorer is here in a cave, and he discovers these markings on the wall, kind of a devilish type of drawing here. There's little little people here kind of bowing, worshiping, all these little symbols here. But what he doesn't see is the creature itself is actually in the shadows watching him. And again, you can tell that another thing I had an issue with was my marker was actually low on ink. So you can just tell how I tried to do my best, but it's just, yeah. This is one of my favorite ones too. This is day 25, Scarecrow. I drew just scary scarecrow looking guy here. I remember the story on this one. I remember it was a farmer down on his luck. Nothing was growing for him. And so he goes to a local witch who kind of casts a spell over him for prosperity, for wealth and stuff like that. The only thing she wanted in return was corn husk, you know, something just simple. Long story short, you know, he's so consumed with his wealth and all this that he forgot to go back to the witch and repay her in a sense. So therefore, the witch kind of cursed him in a sense, kind of reversed it, and now he ends up with a scary scarecrow guy who kind of torments him, and everything just goes wrong for him, you know. Day 26, I remember, was camera, and I wanted to kind of go back to I remember when I was younger, my grandma had a Polaroid camera, and I was so fascinated by it. Nothing scary ever happened, but the story I came up with was like kind of like a little kid who was over at grandma's house, and seeing that he was kind of bored, grandma gave him her Polaroid and told him, you know, to go ahead and take pictures of whatever you want. And the only rule was that he could not go into the attic. Which of course he did, and you know, out in the darkness he took a picture. Yeah, well, he heard something, he took a picture, and this is the creature that he captured, and he was never found, and that was the last known sighting of him type of story. Day 27 was Road. Now this is when Agatha All Along came out, so obviously I had to do like a witch's road type of theme. Just draw two witches kind of hand in hand with their familiar here, kind of walking the road, you know, in the literal sense. So that's how I came up with this picture here. Day 28 was Jumbo. Again, I wasn't really sure how to interpret this, so I just drew big old jumbo jet with a jumbo size, you know, bird monster that's ready to attack them. I think the story was that a flight took off and a kid sees a bird and everybody panics. This bird tries to attack them, but you know, they fly through a storm and the bird disappeared type of story. Day 29 was Navigator. I remember this one, I did the outline in ink, but I kind of did the majority of it in markers because it was a lot of detail. I believe my story was that there's like explorers and they hired this captain, take them to this coordinates out in the sea because they wanted to explore it for some reason. And it was a dark, stormy night, like how usual these stories go. Lightning flash, he turns around and sees who their navigator was, you know. Day 30 was violin. I drew a cursed violin. I remember it was a young protege who, she was like a kind of like a musician type of person who, despite everybody's warning, decides to play this violin. And next thing you know, that she's playing her song, she starts hearing whispers and demonic sounds. And long story short, she's never to be seen again. Her parents come down and they see a little scorched spot on the ground right next to the violin. So the violin is cursed, and I drew a crow on it to kind of represent the death side, or yeah, like the death scene, I guess. The last day was Landmark. I remember just thinking Statue of Liberty, and it's kind of cracked and frayed, you know, it's just, well, not frayed, but cracked and kind of getting old. Don't remember the exact story, but it was like zombies took over, and then eventually they died off and nature was taking back over, and you know, little landmarks such as this one were still left standing, but they were like dissolving, decaying, all that stuff. So this is what I came up with, and that was the last of it. Like I said, towards the end, even though I draw every day, I do take maybe like a day or two breaks in between here and there. For this one, I actually had to draw every single day, which at first I thought I could do it, but then there was times where, you know, the theme would be, the perfect example be like snacks, and I'm like, how would I make snacks into like a horror type of thing? So some of these drawings kind of came out a little funny, a little immature, I guess, in a sense. But yeah, overall, I wanted to say that Inktober for this year was pretty fun for me. It definitely, overall, it was fun. It was kind of nice to just sit down and just draw different scenes, different scenarios that I wouldn't never really come up with. It kind of stimulate my creativity, kind of come up with like a background story for all these pictures. So overall, I would say, you know, if you ever done Inktober, let me know how you guys thought about it. If you're thinking about it for next year, I would highly encourage it. I would say that when I first started off, I was merely confident, you know, where I didn't really want to prep, didn't want to plan ahead type of thing. But now that I've gone through it, I know next year, I would probably at least look at the list, because I know they give you the list like a month before. So definitely plan out maybe like a scene or exactly what I want to draw. Because what I usually do is, you know, after I'm done with everything I need to do throughout the day, I would sit down, see what the theme is, and then just start drawing right there. Just no prep, no nothing. I mean, some days, yeah, I kind of already knew tomorrow was going to be this theme, but the majority of the time I kind of learned as I went. So a lot of these were kind of just force type of thing. A lot of these are like this one, rhinoceros. It's kind of, I knew about this one, so obviously I already knew what I wanted to draw. That's why I added a lot of details and stuff. The very next day, let's say like camp, like the monster concept, it's kind of goofy looking now that I'm thinking about it, but it's because I didn't plan for it. I didn't know what the monster was going to look like. I wasn't really sure of the settings and stuff like that. Like this one I can already tell that I wasn't really in the mood to draw, but I still needed to do something, so still pictures is what I reverted back to and kind of just did that, you know. Then other times, like when I first started off, you can tell that I was like super into it, and I kind of already knew what I wanted to draw, stuff like that. Then just slowly as the days went on, it kind of just got harder and harder for me to think of something. But I would definitely say planning ahead would have helped a lot better with the whole thing. Next year, I know I do want to do it again. I might incorporate some coloring into it this time. I thought about taking this book and kind of recoloring everything back in, but at the same time, I'm like, I might just keep it as is. Next year, though, I'm thinking about coloring it in. And then, but yeah, that's it. I want to just share my experience with Inktober this year. If you guys want to see all of those, like I said, I made shorts about him. If you're on, say, like Instagram, my handle is, my ad is hey_it's_Charlie and then __. So if you want to check out the photos there, I also uploaded the videos there as well. So if you want to see that along with my other works and stuff. But yeah, overall it was fun and can't wait for the next year. Alrighty, thank you guys.